And oh my god, I was sitting here for like 10 minutes chatting with everybody and didn't even add myself to the stream. It's been way too long. Yeah, my sister, how are you, Luna?
Hey, how you going, Jules? G'day, everyone. Long time since I've been sitting
Yeah,
in the air.
it has been so long. My volume was like way down. I forgot to add myself to my own stream, so like for 10 minutes I've been yarning with myself. So I was like literally telling everybody it's so good to see everybody here, and we have King of Lurkland is with us, and Connie and Joe are here, and I was just going on how it's been a hot minute since I've gone live or anything. I've just been busy. I turned 50 and I didn't want to miss any cake on the 50th, even though I didn't have any. And then I hurt my back and had to recover and yada yada yada, a bunch of boring stuff. Got a nerd project on the horizon and this and that, and I've been busy. And believe it or not, Luna's been busy too. I haven't literally caught up with Luna in like 2 weeks. So this was my surprise guest, and Polly will hopefully be along shortly. I think I just got a message. Let me check. No, it's not from Polly, but this is Polly's stream. Me and Polly are gonna yarn, and we got some news we want to share with everybody.
Cool.
So it seems like everybody's been taking care of themselves, doing things. Everybody looks refreshed and vibrant, and I need to catch up with you, Luna, because I've got thoughts. I think a lot of people have been spiritually attacked, but that's my opinion. And the only way that I was able to overcome all this stuff is to just dive into my own world, not follow news, not do anything, just do whatever my heart leads me to do.
Yep. It's true. I didn't know. I've been uncontactable lately. I put myself out for rest and to give myself the love that I give everyone else, and it's working. But I did notice a lot of people are coming to me. They've said they feel like they're under attack, and I'm looking at that right now actually, because it seems everybody all at once has copped this. But we're still alive, we're still healthy, and we're still happy, and that's the main
Yeah.
thing. Yep. So I've been busy making, creating, obviously painting, weaving again, writing a little bit, getting right into the creative stuff. Yeah. So I'm doing that. It's doing me good. It does everyone good. And we're on the precipice of coming into winter, which is not my favourite thing, as everybody knows. So I'm preparing in the last week or two. I've got new bike gear ready for winter. I've got new jumpers ready for winter. And yous are going to go into beautiful spring and summer's coming.
Yeah, it was in the lower 80s here today. So thank you, Connie. That's more so Luna than me, but thank you.
Hey, Connie. Hey, Jules. Hey, Jules. Hey, Joe. Hey, moron. Funny, I just got back. I actually just got back from voting. We voted here today.
How did that go?
We won't know till a bit later on. I'm just hoping everyone went there with a wise mind and an open heart, knowing that we need change, a good change, and they don't stick to their old habits and keep voting for the same bloody mob over and over again, and it makes things go downhill and makes things worse. But personal choice, like everything else, free will and all the rest of it, we're trying. We've got good people here trying to make a difference.
Yeah, I've been keeping up with you. I've been keeping up with as much as I can when I catch up, and I on your neck of the woods.
Yeah, we need to have a good yarn catch up. But yeah, voting day, so you can feel it in the air here. It's kind of not tense. The air's thick, but there's no tension or fear. It's like a thick decision-making kind of air, so you can feel all the people everywhere going to their booths, hoping they vote for the right people. But we'll see what happens. And as you know, in Australia, we get fined if we don't vote. It's not a free thing. It's not like we want to do a good deed and go and vote for a good person. It's not like that at all. It's if you don't vote, you get fined. So it's an under pressure kind of thing. And whether people actually vote or not is another thing, because that's a private matter. I was actually wondering today how many people don't actually vote. They just get their name marked off and walk out the door. But
I kind of wonder if that's how a lot of the politicians over there that you guys don't like get in, because you guys are in a different situation than we are. You guys will actually get fined if you don't vote. So, I mean, I can imagine somebody walking in to vote arbitrarily, just blindfolded. I mean, they don't want to be there doing that. And I mean, and to not get fined, that's like, for me, that's like the easiest thing to think of to do.
I just cop the fine. Some people do. They just cop the fine. Now, a lot of people just go get their name marked off and put the blank paper in, or they write some comment on the paper and put in, like, because they're forced to vote. Personal choice.
Yeah.
Very different worlds in political realm when it comes to that, from our country to yours. But the outcome's still the same, though. You still got some deep control in your life. But anyway.
I'm not kicking it with a virtual background tonight. It's just not happening.
I had a virtual background. We live in a simulation that makes my background virtual. I'm just going to have a cup of tea, people, because I only just walked in the door, realised Jules was doing a show, waiting for Polly to come.
Yeah, he'll be alone. I mean, no, Polly is Polly.
Mm-hmm. So, and we're on the precipice of change all the way around, and I know people can feel it. And I'll just grab my cup of tea and we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, it sounds good. Sounds like a good old night for astrology. I wish I would have brushed up. So, Connie, how was your day? How's it been? Hey, Joe, good to see you. Like I'm saying, nothing fancy going on with me. I've just been recuperating and busy and getting back into the swing of things. And I feel like right now, time-wise, I feel like this is where I was like in October, late September, October. I feel like, I don't know, I feel in many ways that I've jumped a timeline and I've lost time. So I talk politics, but I've been staying away from the news. Let's see. Can't think of anything else. I mean, I want to tell you guys I got lots to talk about, but I'm kind of waiting for Polly to get here. I don't want to like ruin everything. I know it seems like it's going fast, but it feels like I'm just like left behind at the same time. As crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, time's changing. How can I explain that? Yeah, it's fluctuating is the best way I could say it. Time's kind of fluctuating.
I could tell you a true story about time today.
Oh, please. Do. So, while we're waiting for Polly.
Like 2 weeks ago, I scheduled an appointment to get maintenance done on my car. And I scheduled online. I've done this before, had no issues, no problems or anything. And then I walk in and I'm like, I'm here for my appointment. It's 11 o'clock. And they look at me and they're like, your appointment was at 10. And I'm like, I just got an email confirmation yesterday that said it was at 11. So they were like, the computer, the time changed last week. So it's like, what am I going to do? And they're like, well, we'll work you in. Surprisingly, I was only there for like maybe an hour. And I didn't have much of a charge on my phone. I had just enough to get me for music for the gym before I put it on the charge. So I couldn't listen to music. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I sat there and got in the chair, walked in, everybody's on their phone, on their devices, not looking up, just doing as people do. So I sit in the chair and I look up and the TV's on. And it's a freaking long 2-hour infomercial for a company, and it's like it was a continuous loop. So it was like, oh, there's a remote. So I just got up, picked up the remote, changed the channel, changed the channel, changed the channel. There are so many TV, direct TV. There are so many products that just have a channel dedicated. I didn't know this because I don't watch TV, dedicated exclusively for selling a product. So I changed it and kept going down, and it was like, oh, I finally found something manageable to watch. So I ended up watching The Price is Right. And I haven't seen The Price is Right in like 30 years. And it's like completely different. It was kind of depressing. I mean, the set was all lit up and it was vibrant colors, pretty blues, and they had it set up where there were like groups of 3 or 4 sitting in one booth, and then there's another booth with groups of 3 or 4. It wasn't like the old days when you heard, come on down. You're the next contestant.
Part of it. Come on down.
Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. And I was just sitting there and I was thinking, I mean, did that change like that because of 2020?
Perhaps.
So, I mean, it was just, the games were different. And it's the same show. I mean, the same concept. You still bid on the Showcase Showdown. You still get to like spin the wheel for the Showcase Showdown, and some things don't change, but changing with the times. That's one show that hasn't adapted with the times. But then they still have that classic. Please spay or neuter your pets.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Hey, Buzz.
Is it? Hey, Buzz. Hey, everyone. I haven't been around for a while. I've been doing real living stuff, getting myself in order. You know, I went to get a bike helmet, and it's not as easy as you think because I've got a really, really small head. Apparently, so I found out.
What if you just like put a wig on and had your hair and wig? Would that help any?
I found one extra small. It was extra small. Yeah, and I've been busy making stuff. I haven't been around. But it's so good to see everybody and catch up. It'd be good to see Polly when he gets here. I'm just checking. He's not even online yet.
No, I just checked.
Yeah, he's working probably. So.
No, I mean, I the work that he does is kind of similar to the work that I do, and on a busy day for me, I can only imagine what it's like for him. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's all right. Yeah. So what else has been happening since I've been gone? It's been quiet the way I like it. Had a lot of all the animals coming in because everyone knows things are changing. The animals. Remember, I always said to you in the past, check outside, see what the animals do, and that'll tell you what's really happening. Well, the animals are on the move. They're on the move here in Australia. They're changing climates, and it's got nothing to do with winter coming. It's got to do with the Earth actually changing its parameters. Slowly over the years this has been happening, but now it's actually it's apparent because like anything, when it slowly moves, you don't pay attention to it until you noticed it's moved way over here, and it just took time getting there like a snail.
Interesting that there's all these other little distractions that are keeping us from something.
Yeah, there is. I noticed that too, Jules. I notice more and more what is distracting us. Like before, it was obvious, the big things. But if you have a really good look, you'll see the smaller things that are trying to distract us as well. I've become aware of them over the last few weeks. But yeah, just as always, stay centered, stay in the light, stay happy, and you'll be guided to the right place.
Yep. I mean, that's everything okay? I heard it. Okay.
And I find it funny that I'm here because I wasn't intentionally going to do a show.
No, that's
good on you.
This is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I wasn't ready. My show is coming back. I'm trying to figure out a good way to bring it back in. And then I realised that it was all right the way it was.
Yeah, I've just been busy and trying to get back on track. And now that I'm on track, I've got so many little mini projects on the horizon. It's like, when am I going to fit this in? When am I going to do this? It's like I always have a habit of overbooking myself.
Yeah, I always leave room for creativity because I never know when it's going to hit me. And I'm not going to do what I said I'd do, and I'm going to just want to hang.
No, I totally understand you on that. Like creativity hit you. I mean, this creativity hit me, and it's not a huge task, but it's multi-layered. And the first part that I'm working on now is that's going to be the most hardest, tedious, because it's a digital project, and I've got to format things, and I have to check my font and match my pages up, and then I'm adding pictures to it, and I'm teaching myself Word as I go along with this. So, and I found in Word there's different styles you can use on pictures. It will actually cut them like oval or mirror them. So it's a lot of different things. So I'm incorporating that with my writing, with pictures and formatting. It's just a digital undertaking, and so far I've come a long way.
Well, I've been trying to stay away from digital. That's why no one's seen me. And I finished this picture, which was supposed to be one thing and ended up being another. So I actually painted the picture this way, and it's a story, and that's supposed to be a woman's place, and these are all the campsites from families and people that are on their own, and people that there's only a few people, like they're all different campsites, making a journey to this centre where everybody can be together as one.
Mm-hmm.
This centre's by the sea, by the way. You can see the ocean when you're standing there. And it wasn't until I finished it that I turned around and realised it looked like a jellyfish.
Yeah. I know. When you showed me that a couple of weeks ago, when you were just like starting on it before you're putting the final details on it, you're like, "What does this look like?" And I'm like, "It looks like a jellyfish."
Yeah. Mr. Squiggle is my Mr. Squiggle.
Yeah, I mean, literally, everyone for like 10 minutes, I told Lynn it looked like a jellyfish, and she was politely scolding me and saying, "No, that's not what this is," and then it's a jellyfish.
It turned out to be a jellyfish. So it's Mr. Squiggle, the Man from the Moon painting. Remember that show when I was a kid? I loved that show. Mr. Squiggle, the Man from the Moon. Do you remember that show, Jules?
I don't remember. I don't know if that was an American show or not.
I don't know.
I mean, but oddly enough, the shows that I remember from back in the day are ones that I would probably still watch now. I remember being so young, I couldn't even tell time. I couldn't tell you what day of the week it was. I couldn't tell you what time, but I knew instinctively when it was time for the Love Boat to come on.
When you said you didn't know how to tell time, I felt shame because I was 15 years old and I said to my mum, "Mum, I know when it's 10 past the hour and it's quarter past the hour and half past the hour, but what does it mean when the hand's on the other side and it's going up?" And she looked at me and she's like, "You can't tell the time yet." I went, "I can, but no one ever explained it to me." So I was 15 before someone actually explained the clock and how it actually works so I could tell the time properly. Because when I was 15, they were bringing digital. You had your round face clock and they were bringing the digital in. So the digital was different. Yeah, I was confused. I'm not now, but I was then.
Yeah, the digital clock made it so much easier.
Did it? Not for me, because
well, I mean, because you didn't have to think about it. But that was also, I mean, and I wouldn't. I mean, and I wouldn't matter how old you are when you learn time. I mean, the harder it is for one to get the concept, I kind of think instinctually, internally, you know that time is just a man-made construct. It doesn't exist. And how that's the difficulty in trying to learn how to tell time is when what is time?
Yeah, exactly. What is time? It's time is an illusion, because 5 minutes can feel like an hour, and an hour can feel like 5 minutes. I saw what was it? Someone dug up this building, and it was actually an old clock tower, and it was really, really old. And I chuckled to myself, and I thought, oh, they had clocks in that time as well. Look what happened to them.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about Big Ben.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But yeah, time is an illusion. The clock was invented to get more work out of us, to right down to the minute. I know that much, because we got the sun rises in the morning and sets at night. That's our clock. And if you have a look at it at midday, it's right above your head. And if it's slightly to this way, it's 1 o'clock. That's how I tell the time right up, or I still do.
Yeah,
so we went outside.
For me, that would be the sundial method.
Yes, the sundial method. Which I think is more accurate, because some days are longer than others, and we're getting ripped off if we're going.
I remember years ago, eternity ago, when I was in high school, that was one of our science things. Is we had to build a sundial, and it was kind of interesting because, I mean, that particular class only lasted for like 45 minutes of any given day. But you have this project, this task that you're working on a sundial, so only certain people were excused from other classes to go check on the sundial, record the distance, see where the shadow's at.
Yeah, much better way. I presume that's why they had sundials in the garden everywhere. You walk outside, you look at the sundial, you know exactly what the time is, or even look at the sky. But that doesn't work when it's cloudy, does it?
I don't think so.
Hey, a bit like the electricity things, they don't work when they're cloudy. The solar panels.
Yeah, I'd be mad if I spent all that money on solar panels and then
it was cloudy.
It's whether it's naturally cloudy or forced cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
If it's cloudy, then not going to get much energy, one would think, but I don't know. I mean, I admit I have not looked into solar panels, if there's a way that they store energy in there, and like a power bank or something. I have no knowledge.
Yeah, kind of. They store it
that's just like on the surface. I actually admit that I have not looked into that.
Here's a question for you, talking about cloudiness. And even in everyone listening, if you want to put a comment. So for me, watching a storm roll in for many, many years and knowing what a natural storm feels and sounds like, I ask you, Jules, are there storms where something says to you that that's not a normal storm? Have you ever encountered one of them? Yes.
Yeah, I have. And I mean, and for me, because I like springtime, I like summertime. I like sitting out on my terrace and looking at my tree because it's so big. It feels like you're sitting in a tree house. So when the weather's right and a storm's coming, I like being outside in the rain, but not in the rain.
Yeah.
To answer your question, there is a difference that I can tell between storms, because they don't smell the same. When a good rainstorm's coming, it gets in the air and you can smell it. You know a good rainstorm's coming. You got X amount of time to get shelter. These storms that come now, it seems like they're just more isolated, and they seem like they're targeting something or someone.
Too fast. Actually, that's the key, because that's what I said to my neighbour. I remember being as a kid, you'd see the storm building, you'd hear it, you'd smell it, and you had X amount of time to get wherever you got to go and prepare yourself for the storm.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. The ones now, it's like 5 minutes, bang, there's a storm on top of you. Like, there's no warning, there's no build up, bang, it just hits you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a difference.
And I agree, Connie. I agree with Connie. Those ions, they do smell
Yeah,
good.
they smell good. Yeah, I love that. I love that smell after the storm. It's amazing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing smell. Yeah, so let's hope we get back to more natural storms. So what else has been happening in your neck of the woods, Jules, on your side of the world?
On my side of the world, lots of stuff politically, but I don't have my nose deep in it.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to.
And I can't talk about it on this platform.
True.
So it's like the time away from YouTube was good. I feel rejuvenated, but I'm kind of makes me a little grumpy that coming back, well, I can't talk about this, can't talk about that, can't talk about this. So it's like, what do we do? Do we just keep on? And that's what I've decided to do. I've decided to just, I'll have a potpourri channel. It'll be a little bit of everything. Sporadic, but who knows? Maybe in the near future I'll get around to refinishing that cabinet.
Oh yeah. The cabinet. Yeah, I got out in the yard yesterday. My body's tired as because I just slogged it out. And it's looking really nice. I'm getting where I'm slowly getting there. Food's growing, things are happening, but it's a lot of hard work. I was listening to a thing yesterday. Remember, I don't know if you remember, but when I was a kid, everyone still grew food in their home. It was left over from the war days. They actually want us to do that again. And I'm sitting here and I thought the other day, first we used to take our own bags to the shop, then they got rid of them and they gave you a bag. Now they want you to bring your own bag, which is more sensible. We used to grow our own food, then they want you to go to the shop, and now they want you to grow your own food. Why don't we just stick with the good stuff, Jules? Like, when something works, it works, right? Yeah. And we all know it's worked for hundreds and hundreds of years. Leave it that way. But then some bright idea brainhead comes along and goes, let's change it. And then we always go back to the way it was originally anyway. And we wasted all that time and resources just going back to what we already knew worked.
Because I think it all folds into the master plan.
Well, I hope so, because it's a bit crazy. Let's just stick with the things that work, I reckon.
Yep.
So let's, things that need changing, like the other day it was raining. I've been riding around the rain for a few days. And I said to one of the fellas, gee, it would be nice if you could have a stick-on windscreen wiper for your helmet, right? And he said no one's actually improved the helmet as far as that goes for a long time. And I'm like, actually, you're right there. Then I got to thinking about all these other things that have never really been improved since the day they made them. And they could have improvement but be the same, you know, the things I'm talking about. Not totally change, they're on a good idea and it works, but just tweak it a little bit. They managed to change the good old can opener. It's a bit easier. They haven't fixed the screen on the helmet. And what else was I thinking about the other day that's never changed? It was a gadget of somehow. It'll come back to my memory in a minute. But
there was a gadget that I was thinking of the other day, and it's like, this would just be the perfect gadget. How comes nobody's made this? And I've forgotten about it.
Because some things just haven't really changed for a long time. Yeah, I'll think about it.
But I have been, some of the things that I've been watching more of on YouTube.
Yep.
So, and ironically, now that I'm like cut lifestyle changes back and I'm cycled those back in, and I'm watching cooking channels.
Ooh, cooking. Cooking's always good.
You know, I mean, country cooking, outside cooking. The cowboy used to cook for a chuck wagon. So all of his stuff that he does, he primarily cooks outside. It's either smoked or grilled or the Dutch oven on a campfire.
Cool.
and he's had some beautiful recipes.
I was only saying that last night, Jules. We were cooking, and we got an electric oven. But when you turn electric down, it takes a few minutes to actually go back down. And I said to hubby, I love cooking outside on an open fire because you just rake the coals out, and you can have a little bit of coals for simmer, a bit more coals for medium, and then lots of hot coals for rapid boil or a hot fry. And you can instantly change the temperature of what you're cooking. And I realised, hang on a minute, we cook on stoves and we do all this fancy stuff, trying to get that exact same effect that we get on the fire.
Yeah,
Yeah, nothing like that.
it's a skill. I mean, and then there are cooking channels where people are cooking with gas ovens,
Yeah, to
and
the
then there's electric stoves.
yeah. I don't know about. I don't really like electric stoves. At least gas, you can turn it down and it's more instant. But then if you're outside, the wind will blow it away. That's why I just like a real fire. There's nothing like a real fire. But as you know, like our barbies here in Australia, everyone has a barbecue, and on the weekend you can smell cooked meat everywhere. Come, yeah, we're up. It'll start 12 o'clock lunchtime into the afternoon. Someone will have a barbie going. You go outside and it's like, that smells nice. And you'll wish you're invited, but never mind. Good old Barbie. Yeah. Which yous will be all doing soon because we'll be having winter and we'll be all inside snugly warm, trying to be. And yous will be outside cooking out. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
coming back this summer.
I mean, the best grilled cheese I ever had was years ago. I had a friend from South Africa, and went to his family gathering. Oh, and he was like, "Do you want a grilled cheese?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I mean, they did campfire cooking. Everything was done over open flame. So they had this contraption that literally you put your bread and your cheese, and it was done in the fire like this. Flip
Oh,
it
yeah. It was a
flip
little
it
cage
over,
thing, or was it
yeah,
a solid?
over, flip it
Mm.
over, and it was like the best grilled cheese I ever had.
I'll tell you something funny about them.
I like that char. I like that flame. I mean, I was always a fan of burnt popcorn, especially burnt toast.
Yeah, I love bird toast. Those contraptions where you put the bread in and you stick it over the fire. When we were kids, they were in every single kitchen. They were one of our quick, fast takeaway foods because we didn't have many shops. You had one corner shop. It was closed on the weekend, obviously, because they wanted to live as well. So those contraptions where you put the bread in and your cheese, we'd have baked beans and put it on. They were in every kitchen. I was telling one of the young fellas the other day, and they're too young to remember all this stuff, but that brings back those memories when we were kids. And Mum would make. Every family had one, man. It wasn't a weekend thing. It was actually a normal thing. Every time.
Well, here's something that might be something a similarity. I mean, you guys have Kmart's over there. I think they're a dying breed over here, if not already dead.
Really?
Yeah, I worked for Kmart for about 20 years, but
We've got Target. We had Target. They're a dying breed here. The shop called Target, or the rich people call it Target, but it's actually Target. That's disappearing, but we still got a Kmart.
yeah, but with Kmart, the thing that what I remember way back in the day with Kmart as a kid going to Kmart, that air pop popcorn that they had.
I don't remember.
I don't know if your Kmart's had like, and it wasn't like a cafeteria or a concession stand or anything. It was a dedicated space that they had air pop popcorn, nachos, and ices. Those frozen sugar drinks, diabetes in a cup. Because
Sorry. I just.
no, I mean your Kmart's. I imagine they're similar to ours.
Oh, they would be. I just got a beautiful poem from our good friend Buzz. He sent it to me in Discord.
Awesome.
Can I read it out, Buzz? If you're still there, do I have permission to read it out? I'll wait for permission. I've lost everything. Where am I?
You are here.
Who did I read that?
It never lost. You're exactly where you're supposed to be at the right time. Yeah,
Damn it.
I agree with you, Connie. I could go for burnt bacon too, but of all the things burnt, it would have to be toast.
Yeah, I love burnt toast. I've got to tell you, out in the bush, smells travel, and there's nothing like the smell of burnt toast wafting through the air over the hills, and you smell it miles away, and you want to be in that kitchen eating that toast. So I have permission off Buzz to read his poem. You want to hear it, Jules?
I'd love to.
It's called I Will. I hope I do it justice by reading it out right. Here we go. I will never give up, for life I hold dear. I will face everything, even when filled with fear. I will push through the pain. I will smile through the tears. I will stay on the path through the trials and the years. I will harden my heart to confusion, distraction. I will not be ignorant and dwell in inaction. I will live, laugh, and love in the face of mortality. I will not let evil change my mortality. And when my time comes and I lay down to rest, I will have less regrets, and I know I did my best. Oh, thank you, Buzz.
That was beautiful.
That was beautiful, yes. Such a good poet you are. That's cool. Thank you. It's nothing like seeing things like that. I was just checking to see where Polly was, and he's not around.
Yeah, I just checked a second ago.
That's all right, though. We'll get him another time.
Yeah.
I keep losing my pages. Losing in a bit of confusion when I keep losing the page that I'm on the computer. So
Polly, oh Polly, where art thou, Polly?
yeah, usually call him 3 times.
Is he like Beetlejuice?
Probably. Yeah, what else? I've been making, I don't know what.
Have you been making anything, or
Yeah.
is it just painting?
I had to make I had a little order for these little necklace things I wear. So little medicine bags, I had to order for them.
Nice.
Red, black and yellow, which is our colours. But if I got to make one, I'll just make a whole heap. So that's what I did. I've been making heaps of them. And what else have I been doing? Oh, yeah, that's about it. I've been going out a lot, so I haven't had as much time as I normally do.
Oh, I remember where we were when you got up to grab your tea.
Yeah.
You were gonna tell us changes in the feeling. You were getting ready to go somewhere, then you got your tea, and then I derailed everybody.
That's all right. At least we've got something to talk about now. Yeah, the times are changing. Everything's changing. Everything's changing, and will continue to change.
Because I know that there are planets that are moving closer and closer and closer to Aquarius. Major planets that are going to be there for like 12 years or so.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've been just doing, I'm pretty boring. I mean, I work, do my physical therapy at the gym because after work, nobody wants to go to work out. So I go have physical therapy, and then I've been like working on my nerd project, and that's getting up and going to work. I mean, it's been I'm boring. I've got nothing to tell you guys what I've been doing because it's all the same. It's just daily boring stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the fish tank's alive and thriving.
Cool.
That was the big 50th gift, and I've actually have like two little fry that are like colored now, and they're big enough they can't be eaten. So of all those fish, I ended up having two birthday fish.
Oh, nice. Nice. Well, I haven't got any fish.
And then I got a betta in the other room, and his color is almost completely coming in, and he's purple.
It's purple.
So he's gonna be purple. So I had to like look, and it's like of all the colors in that particular kind of fish, a purple betta is very rare. And his name is Roswell.
Huh? Roswell. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, time changing. So basically everything's changing. The earth, us, the animals, everything is on the precipice of change.
There's a Astrolabe. I don't know if the website is still up and functioning, and I don't want to like leave Luna by herself and me just putz off and search for stuff. But an Astrolab that would help with that would show you where the planets are. It's kind of like literally having like a birth chart, but just like a watch.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because what that does, it literally it tells the astrological forecast. There used to be a website called alab.com, and then there was another one, or Astrolab. So I need to like write that down, but I haven't. I mean, tarot or anything. It's something that I would like to do. I just don't have time. I mean, even making time, I have me time, but
How do you make time?
I'm still doing. How do I make time?
How do you make time? Is it a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you stir it up, and poof, you've got extra time. Like, just when I heard you say that, I'm thinking that's really.
No, I mean, I told and daylight savings time. It's like, how do you save it?
So we can not only make time, that we can put it in a jar and sell it.
You're telling me that time is like money? It doesn't exist, but we can make it, and we can just keep adding to it, and we can take away.
Yeah.
And we can
like yeah, when you said that, I was like, hang on a minute, make time. So, and when you know how you go, I'm doing this to save time. Where do you save it? In a time bank? In a time piggy bank? It just sounds really weird, eh?
The bank of time. Well, I mean, I wonder. I mean, one interesting place that I would like to go, and it's an honest, real place. I think it's in Switzerland. There literally is a museum of time.
Let's open a bank of time. We're going to open a bank of time, and you can come in and invest 4 hours a day with us. And we'll hold that 4 hours for you in the bank account. And when you want it back, we'll come and give it to you.
Wait, how similar is that from a paycheck? You come here for X amount of time. We hold it right here, and if you did okay, we might give you not all of this back because we're keeping like 33.3% for taxes.
10 minutes off everything you give us. Does that mean that you can save up a lifetime? I'm finding this is very funny. I've never looked at it quite the same like this. You can save a lifetime.
What is time?
Bank with time banking. You can save a lifetime. Someone would probably invest in it too, Jules. That would be a funny thing.
Just make sure they're not like super cryptocurrency right now.
Online banking. Online banking.
No, online baking, surprisingly, I learned, and I'm not going to say the hard way because it's unfortunate that it happened to me, but I learned in the past, since the first of the year, that online banking, paying bills online, is much safer than paying your bills with a check. I'm all after that fiasco that happened way back in December, January. I'm finally stabilized. Everything is going out accordingly, and my funds are just like they were prior to the fiasco. So, for those who don't know, I wrote out a check and put it inside the mailbox in the post office. This was back in the middle of December, around December 13th. It was an important check. Paid the bill. I kept looking my account like a month later. It's like January 16th. It's like, where's this check? I still hadn't cleared. So I came home the following day, opened up the mail, and there was a non-sufficient funds thing for my bank. And I'm like, what's this? So I opened it up and looked at it. Somehow it was somebody tried to cash a check for $6,500.
Whoa.
So I had to make my car payment anyway. So the following day, I actually went to the bank, and it was like 4:30 when I got there, and I was there until like 6 o'clock. I mean, it was, and the bank closes at 5, but they were very accommodating. So when I went there to make my car payment, hey, I got this letter. Can you tell me anything about this? Can you pull my account up? Can I look at this with you? So they pulled it up, and somebody had also hit me for another check that was rejected for $5,200. And what happened? Somebody working inside our post office got a hold of my bill, my check. They forged my signature off of it, and they custom created their own checks. And I could tell something was up because they created checks with super high numbers, and those numbers weren't in the range of my checks. So I spent immediately on the spot. My small town bank was like, we're shutting your stuff down. This is what we're going to do, blah, 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 blah. And that's when we talked for about a half hour, and they were talking about bill paying and things that go on, and how because of that situation and physically dropping off a bill inside a post office where you would think it would be secure. No. So I learned that I pay the majority of my stuff online. And there's much more. The encryption software and everything is so much more better. So I'm not as hesitant to pay bills online.
We don't really have checks here in Australia. Not now. Most people use online or go to the bank.
Yeah, Connie, that happened. And then right as that happened, I had jury duty. And my year started like, all right, my driver's license is expiring. I got to go take care of this. And because they'll probably pick me for jury duty. And sure enough, they did. They not only did they pick me once, they picked me twice. And I got literally called for 3 times. But the last case got thrown out. Yeah, so jury duty. I feel like I'm a professional juror. In the past, I've done circuit court, different state, different time. This past year, first case was a criminal. The first one was a civil trial. The second was a criminal trial. The first one, it was kind of comical because most of the case revolved around a septic tank. And it was a contractor, and how the person who bought the house, there was a dispute, a discrepancy, and it was all revolving around the septic tank. And we actually had to find the defendant in that case innocent because we had to find him innocent out of ignorance because he didn't know what he was doing. And the second one, I'll finish with this and then we can move on a little bit. The second one was a criminal trial, and it was so mentally exhausting. We ended up finding the state had 55 pieces of evidence, the defense had one piece. We had to find, they used a fancy term for guilty by association. So we had to find this guy. It was mentally exhausting because we had to find him guilty of 8 counts of armed robbery, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 19 misdemeanor crimes.
Wow. Wow.
So it's over with. I don't have to go back for jury duty for 3 years.
You are a professional jury. Jules of the jury. I like that name. Well, I've had that fortune.
That's how I had it when when Ben was on the Bittersweet last month, back in February. I had Jules of the Jury on there, and it was like, I'm going to keep this on here as long as I got jury duty and can be summoned. I'm going to be Jules of the Jury. So I actually changed it back tonight to Jules of the Flame.
That's funny. Pardon me. Yeah, that's funny. The last thing anyone wants is to be judged. We judge ourselves. We be judged all the time. Judgment time is over.
Yeah. And that judgment, doesn't that kind of keep those vibrations low, that energy low, vibrations low, and keeps you in a potentially negative place?
Yes, it does. It's not good. And it comes with a hammer.
Yeah.
Comes with a hammer and goes, okay, you've just been judged. Yeah, Crady's the only one that can judge anything, not us. We judge ourselves, and we shouldn't really. We should be kinder to ourselves. But, that's the system. Our traditional system's not like that. You look. Yeah, it's based on a circle. We even have for the young ones, we call it sentencing circle. So before they actually go to a jury like that, they sit down among the elders of the community that know these people and they know their families, and they work it out that way. And if they can work it out that way, that's what gets done. If they can't, then it's handed to the normal system.
I agree with you. I mean, we shouldn't judge, but there are times, and this is where back in when we were doing our roundtable and discussions, judgment. I mean, we shouldn't judge, but there are times when you really should judge. Like when you're parallel parking or you're driving a car, you want to judge how far you how much way you've got. Yeah, I think the word judge and judgment are one of those words that when we were having our roundtable and our discussions, I think judgment could be one of those words that is misrepresented. It's different. It should mean something else. There should be another word for it in that sense.
Well, there's discernment, which is like judging, but you're not looking for a solid outcome. You're just trying to discern what's from what with no judgment on it. Yeah, brother here says different types of judging. Yeah, it's not always that kind of thing. But that's the thing. There are different kinds, but everyone likes this kind, and that kind has to go. You can't hammer people anymore.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of judgment, that's the first thing you think of is somebody talking down or doing something negative with negative connotations.
Making a final claim on you. Because when you judge like that, there's no room for growth after that. You've been deemed that, and you say that, and you can't grow. There's no room for growing because you've been deemed the solid rock kind of thing.
No, I totally agree with you, and it's when people have a tendency to judge themselves. I mean, it's hard to get past that. You got to break through a wall, it seems.
Yeah, I like what Moron's saying here in the chat room. I'm going to read it out. You can flick it up. You can actually put it on the screen, Jules.
I can.
You can, yeah, you got the power. You got the button. Jules has got the power.
I got the power.
Um,
That
yeah,
was a song of sorts from I think the 90s.
yeah.
So, oh Polly, where art thou, one Polly nation? I want to talk, but it's not all me. It's so, oh, Polly, where are you?
Just because you put the barbecue on doesn't mean everyone's going to turn up to eat it.
Well, that and it's slow cooked too.
Yeah, right.
So
I
I
don't
will just go ahead and I will at least put this up because I know that he's got a show coming up
yeah.
tomorrow. So that's where Polly's not here right now, but that's where he can be found on weekends. He's doing a show over on IBN.
Yep. Get over there and listen to Polly.
I listened.
I haven't.
I didn't get to catch him Sunday, but I listened Saturday. He's got a good thing going.
I've been busy, and because our days are different, and your Saturday is my Sunday, and your Sunday is my Monday, I've been kind of missing. But that's all right. It'll sort its way out. And daylight savings coming, and we're finishing daylight saving. Oh, Jules, I don't want that to happen. I love get every ounce of summer that I can. But yeah, get over there, listen to Polly's independent broadcasting. He's got some interesting stuff on there. It's only just started up, so everybody on there is kind of new. If you want, yeah, you like that kind of stuff, go and listen. I noticed on the internet itself, a lot of things have dropped. Like people aren't interested in a lot of things all of a sudden. What they were in the, I think it had a lot to do with lockdown, lock up. The fact that everyone had to stay home and do stuff. Now everyone's back to life. It's all dropping and changing. Just reading comments here. Sorry.
I mean, I always was kind of did my own thing prior to lockdowns and everything, so it was no hard adjustment for me. I mean, the only how that only affected me, I lost a couple of friends, and it's not by any of my doing. It's just one of those that you're not like us, and we don't want to be around you.
Good. How are we ever going to move into the future with thinking like that when they find out other things that will involve that kind of thinking? We really need to get open. If you're not like us, that's okay. You're still allowed to exist, and we'll love you the same. That was my experience. I had to wait for the world to come back to its senses before I could go back out in it. It wasn't a fact of, well, they didn't. Yeah, it was a bit like that. But you know what I'm saying. Now they're starting to come to their senses. It's like, oh, it's safe to go back in the water.
Yeah, we've talked outside of YouTube. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep. But even that's changed now. That's what I mean. There's change everywhere because those people are starting to realise, hang on a minute, it wasn't what it seemed to be. It was actually what we were saying, but never mind.
Well, we can't go further with that here.
Yeah. But yep, things are changing. Creators, light has touched the earth, and things are changing rapidly.
But I have said in the past couple of months, there is a channel that I started watching. It's called Now You See TV. They have one segment that they do, the Midnight Ride, and it's just a couple of guys yarning. And what these guys are doing is every chapter of the Book of Enoch they're going through and they're translating and they're breaking it down word by word and pulling out scripture and proving this and showing us that. And it appears that the Book of Enoch is about the apocalypse and how it's very important, and that's the reason why it was banned, not canonized. But they're reading elements from that. That they're actually closely proving that it's when it was written by Enoch.
Yeah, brother, they're saying he watches it too. I used to watch them, and they were just starting to open their mind and look at things different ways. And I left them with how would all that look in today, and they've actually gone and looked at it all in today and come back with that. And now I'm watching them again. So yeah, they're good value. They're not the only ones talking about it, but Jules, a lot of people who have got play formats, what do they call them?
Yeah.
Isn't that? Yeah, they're looking into it too. Everyone's realised. That's what I mean. Everyone's realising stuff. All of a sudden, things are changing rapidly. People's minds are opening up. More lights coming.
Well, see, and I'd like to think that for some of those people, their minds are opening up, but I also would like to think that some of them are feeling something's not right, not knowing what it is, just feeling something's not right, and hopefully they'll further look into things and come to find out why they're not feeling right.
Yeah, I think little steps at a time for them. We don't want to blow their heads off. But yeah, I think as their minds are opening and they're realising more and more stuff, that'll come into the equation along with the rest of the thinking. It's just that they're only starting to do this now, and most of us have been doing it for a very long time. So we need to be patient and just get on with what we got to do. They'll follow on behind as they come into it. But it's really important now to do what we got to do in your world. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Do it good. Do it proper. Yeah, and watch what happens.
So I just dropped the link in chat if anybody wants to jump in and join and yarn with us.
Because this was all spur of the moment, or it wasn't spur of the moment.
It really was.
Spur of the moment for me. It was like, oh, okay, good timing. Because I actually walked in the door and said, "Oh, Jules has got a show today with Polly. I need to catch it," and then here I am on it. With no subjects prepared, no thinking prepared. I haven't even been around, and here I am.
No, I mean, like I said, I want to catch up with you, but I know the stuff that we want to talk about, we can't talk about here. And then the other stuff that we want to talk about, we don't want to like dox people. So,
Look, brother here in the chat room, he refused to sign on to Flat Earth. You know, brother, just because they have differences in thought and certain things, they should have still loved it anyway. Because that really, it only changes things for you, not for the rest of the world. Oh, well, it would change eventually. There's a debate that I don't like debates because I don't like arguing, but it's definitely something that needs to be talked out. Is it this way or is it this way? Is it this way or is it this way?
I'm not ready to open that can of worms up.
Keep doing it. I like that. Flat, round, flat, round. I also came up with, you know how our time is in BC and then we've got AD. We need to change that now because BC actually means before COVID and AC now is after COVID. But yeah, we should jump in someone and give us something to talk about. Anything you want on YouTube, just can't. Oh, you can't save it. I get it. Yeah. That's all right. Yeah, we're going to move into Windows 11. Have you heard about Windows 11, Jules?
I haven't.
Yeah, don't get it. Don't jump and get it. Because apparently when you get Windows 11, you have to change all your computer system or something. Someone with technology can add to that, but that's what I heard. And there's something about every time they get a new thing for the computer, seems like it's opening the doorway up somewhere. That's how it feels to me.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
I,
I
to-
really
I
like that.
totally, I totally agree with you, brother.
Yeah, I agree too, brother. I agree too.
I
When
mean, because
um,
it doesn't. I love people of all shapes. It doesn't have to be flat or round. They can be curvy, or they can be tall, or they can be short. I
yeah,
love people just the same.
it doesn't matter what end you open your egg at. It's all about the chickens, not what end you open the egg at. So if we focus on the chickens, it don't matter how you open your egg. Just focus on the chickens.
Yeah, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
It doesn't matter. Just focus on the chicken because we need those eggs for eating, right?
It was the rooster.
It was a rooster. Who made the rooster? Yeah, you can go on forever. But like I said, we've got to get back to better matters in the world, more important matters. Um, I think all the stuff we've had in the world, it's so convenient. I mean, anything you can imagine, someone can go and make it and make more rubbish for the world.
I mean, I've I have been catching more of Walter Bosley. He had a good
Same.
argument going on last night.
Yes, I've been catching him too. Yeah, he's coming along quite well there. Interesting stuff.
Yeah,
Interesting. Um,
that's
I'll
what
tell
I
you,
that's what I started watching last night, and I just lost track of time and fell asleep.
I was yarning to someone the other day, and we were talking about languages and how people talk all over the world. And this was the point that we come out with. So the Asians talk really fast. We talk fast, and I slow down to talk to you fellas. But normally we talk really fast. Asians talk faster, and there's a couple of other languages that
Yes,
talk
they
really
do.
fast, right? What we noticed that when the shit hits the fan and you got to communicate to someone really fast about what's going on, so you can go into action, it really helps to have a language that you can communicate really fast and get all this communication in a couple of words or through in a few minutes, like half the time what other languages could, because it gives you the advantage. And it never really dawned on me until we had this conversation about how people talk all over the world and how fast they communicate. And you know what? The faster you can communicate, the better, because when, like I said, when the shit hits the fan and you got to get all this information into someone's head so they can act fast, it really helps. And I realise that's why code words and all that were made, to cut the language and get communication across faster. But even though in Australia we think we talk fast, we actually ranked like third or fourth on this line that we were made after having this conversation.
Yeah,
That we don't actually talk as fast as some of the, especially the Asian languages. Getting your tongue around it is really hard. Whoa, just thinking about it made me dizzy.
where do the Spaniards and Central and South Americans rank on that? Because they speak a lot of Spanish, and Spanish, I deal with a lot of Spanish speaking people, and what's the one time that it's like, all right, translate. And then I'm actually able to communicate with people through a phone with just a translate app. It's genius. I mean, I've been able to help so many more people because of that technology and having translate. But I'm noticing when they speak with their kin and people who speak their language, it's not exclusively to any particular kind of language. I the Muslims speak really fast with one another. I mean, every language speaks fast with one another, but one of the faster ones that I hear when they speak together are the ones that speak Spanish. They speak really fast in that one centralized location where it sounds completely different from from Spanish that's spoken in Spain. It's different. It's when it's spoken more slowly, to me it sounds more of a romantic language. When it's really fast, it sounds really jarbled, and it just sounds kind of dirty. That's my opinion only.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's all right. I hear, yeah, it depends on the listener, yeah, because I hear it like a song, and I listen to our traditional language, I listen to English, and I listen to a couple of other languages. And when you got it right in it's your own language and you're talking to the right people, it's like a song, and the words come out continuously like a song. Um, a lot of that's missing because when you speak English, you're actually forced to butcher all of that, butcher the timing, butcher, especially in Australian, butcher the pronunciations, butcher the flow of song. Because I think we should, when we speak, it should be like a song and have beautiful positive energy, which higher our vibration. But yeah, a lot of it's been butchered in today's age, because a lot of even the languages that other countries speak, they can still go back to a more traditional dialect than what they speak today. Because the conversation I was having with this fellow the other day, and we were talking about Asian languages, how many languages have to put in an English word because their language actually never had a word for that. So like Nike, I'm sure that any traditional language never had a word for Nike because we didn't even know what Nike was. There was no word like Nike.
Nike, it's a swoosh.
You know, like a computer monitor. Like when I hear the word monitor, I think of a lizard because we got a lizard named monitor, right? That's what I think of.
That would be an interesting drawing to have a computer with legs just
run away over the sand. But you get what I'm saying, and it's changed languages. So that tells me it's changed our vibrations as well. And now that we want to get back to a more high vibration, I'm interested to see how the language is going to change. Are we going to say less words that have more meaning? Are we going to speed it up? I'm interested.
I'd like to think we would use more words, because we already throughout the past several years, we've been using less language. People have been communicating with emojis.
Yeah.
They're communicating with emojis. They're communicating with GIFs. Hey, Roxy, good. So I mean, they're using less language. So I'm kind of curious too to see how it's gonna pan out.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And I have to say, we have the right people in our family.
Yeah, verbal alchemy. Yeah, exactly, bro. That's what it is.
Yep.
And it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be smooth like a song and sing to where you are to bring the best out of everything. Because animals and plants, you talk to them, they flourish better than when you don't talk to them. So if we were singing when we talked, they'd flourish even more. And so would we.
And water. And some of the things that I've watched setting up aquariums and learning this, because I've been the technology compared to 10 years ago for aquariums in the aquatic industry. It's such more streamlined. It's more advanced. These things that the equipment that's out there now, I had to do a lot of research on some things. And I even I had to learn the whole ammonia nitrite cycle, and water changes, how that all factors in, and how plants, and I kind of had a little mini science project with this. I don't know. And I came across a guy who had a beautiful aquarium that he's had up for 20 something years, and he's never taken any water out of it. I mean, he's taken water out of it But what he does is when he does his water changes, he takes the water out, he saves the water, he lets all the sediment sift out of it, and then he puts that water back in. And he does bring up an interesting thought that water, it's it's a binding element. It's fluid. It connects everything. It's vibrant. It has like the doctor, what's his name? Water has feelings. So this water coming back in, it's part of the whole vibe that's in the aquarium.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
So it's like if you repurposing water that's already got all of that, the love and everything that's already mixed in with it, putting that back in, it's more beneficial than putting in chlorinated tap water, dechlorinating it and letting your fish acclimate to that. When if you've got to take some water out because you need to do around, you got to put medication or something in there for a fish. He's like, never throw away your water. He's like, I haven't cleaned this tank in 20 years, but I've also keep you as much as the original water that he can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's one. And then on the spectrum of that, there's like, you want to do a water change once every month, or monitor your cycle and do a water change when needed. And I mean, and I'm kind of like, I'm kind of in the middle. I have a tank that I've had up for over 10 years, and I've only done like a complete water change on it once or twice.
There you go.
There's benefits of both, but I mean, I guess it's like to each their own. I mean, that's the thing of having an aquarium.
Yeah. What works for you? But yeah, I remember when I was a kid, yeah, the water was cool for ages. You'd only clean it every now and again. But back then, the water you put back in was okay.
Well, I remember back in the day, living in Florida when I was 3 or 4, going out in the ditch with a screen from a window and putting it in the water, bringing it up, and like actual like guppies that people pay money for now in a pet store. We used to get those out of the ditch years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Here in Australia, every puddle had tadpoles in it. Now you're lucky to find one. You're lucky to find a tadpole. When I was growing up, there were tadpoles everywhere. People do the same thing. We didn't have guppies, but we had tadpoles.
We used to fish for crawdads with those screens too, go in a ditch and different state, different time. You can get crawdads.
You just answered a question. I never knew what that was until now. They're like little, yeah,
Yeah, they're like little crayfish.
yeah, yeah. We got them. We got them. Well, where the nature is happy still in the bush, you come across little puddles and you get them. Yeah. Okay. Someone's coming to say hello. Excuse me.
After mine's gone, then yours comes. So, well, it is Saturday there for you.
Yeah, yeah. Today it's G'day Saturday, but I'm not doing that. I'm doing the bitter and sweet with Jules.
Good day today. Good day. Good day. It's almost Saturday.
Yeah. And if things work out, I actually will be doing G'day Saturday on your Saturday, but it'll be my Sunday because I've got some things planned and hopefully they'll take place. And yeah, this is part of all the change. That's why you haven't seen me, because a lot of things are changing up and I've got to adjust. And I'll be back when it all starts.
I mean, we've been on for a hot minute, and I just checked, and I've got nothing from Polly, so I'm not gonna like spill all the beans, but I'll spill some of them.
Okay.
So I am going to be on with Polly next weekend on this here channel, the Independent Broadcast Network. I'm going to be going on with Polly, and for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, we are going to be doing 80s. And music, fashion, popular culture, anything and everything. We're just going to yarn off the cuff, talk about 80s, and play some tunes for everybody. So if you can join us, and because what I'm actually going to be doing with this is after we're all done with what we're doing, I'm going to create a playlist, and there'll be a playlist for every episode. And there's more to this, but Polly's going to have to spill his part of the beans.
Well, that's good news, Jules. Yes, Polly's going to have to tell us what he's up to, but I'll definitely be listening out for that.
But yeah, I mean, I'll be on the Independent Broadcast Network with him next weekend.
Cool, yay! So get in for that. Oh yeah, that'll be good. Nice.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Nice.
I mean, get us '80s nerds together. No telling where it'll go. I mean, if there were 365 days in a year, and there were 10 decades, that's like at least over 35,000 things we could talk about.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I've got to find more material, interesting stuff. I've run out of interesting stuff. Well, the stuff that I find interesting anyway.
I would absolutely love to talk about music and movies and pop culture and stuff here, and play snippets and clips and do a deep dive and have everybody call in and just reminisce and have a good time about it. But the Big Stone Drag is copyright.
Oh, I get you. Yeah. You gotta have the right platform.
So I mean,
away with it.
If I ever decide to leave YouTube, I will have a massive blowout. Be like, copyright, I don't care. But no, I mean, I do apologize for my lack of content, but like I've said in previous conversation, I'm pretty simple, I'm pretty boring. It's just the same stuff. And I will try to come back more regular than I have. But springtime's coming, and like you, Luna, I've got projects. I've got things I want to do. I've got this beautiful palm sander I got as a Christmas gift. That I have a coffee table that's just itching to be refinished.
Yeah, I got my eye on a few things. As everyone knows, I've been doing chairs, and I'm ready to move to a desk. I'm getting bigger. And I did get offered to do murals, and I'm thinking, wow, I only started off doing small projects, and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger now. But go with the flow, you know.
Yeah.
You just go with the flow. Keep it there. I was just thinking too, Jules, oh yeah, I'm going into winter. That means I'll be at home more often, trying to keep more warm.
So yeah, that means you'll be keeping warm.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be online a bit more because I'll have the fire going in the background. And I'll be at home more, so yeah.
Well, it won't be too long before it'll be cold winter for you. You'll be freezing to death, and I'll be inside because I'll be blistered by the sun.
No, I love that heat.
It's a fair trade-off. I mean, because and it's gonna be another hot summer when it comes. I can tell already. I mean, today was like our first warm day, and again, just 5 minutes in the car. I have my driver's arm, the one that's always close to the window, that it gets sun no matter what. It's like came inside throughout while the day was still going down. Until nighttime came when my skin was burning.
Oh,
it's in recent years. I mean, and I'm sure skin. I mean, it's one of those things that we're born with that it's the biggest organ on our body. I mean, it's sensitive, but the sun, it's not that orange happy sun that I remember years ago. It's just like this white ball that emits radiation and your skin burns throughout the day. It's not the same.
that's true, Jules. And you know what? It's so obvious but no one says anything. I've often said to people, what colour was the sun when you grew up? And they went yellow. And I said, what colour is the sun now? And they go white. But no one's gone, oh, hang on a minute. No one stopped to go, what's going on? Why has our sun changed colour? Everyone just goes, yeah, I remember that, and goes on about their business. I'm like, hello, there's a major change up in the sky and no one even gives two bits about it. That's a discussion I'd like to have. Why did the sun change colour, and what the energy difference that it has now, the colour difference it has now, and as you said, the way it feels. No one's discussing that while everything's going on.
No, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I think the biggest distraction that this is for is that it's all is the poles that are shifting. It's happening faster and faster, and I think it's a distraction from that.
And how they're shifting, no one actually speaks about that either. Because your automatic thought is that they're going to swap over, right? That's what you automatically think. North is going to be south and south's going to be north, right? But not so. I don't think that's the way it's going to go. I think that where it's cold now is going to be warm, and where it's warm is going to be cold. But it's not going to change as in north-south, just the cold and hot. Yeah, we need to talk about it more.
Yeah.
So here in Australia, the north is hotter than the south, right? And we've got the equator and the one underneath it, something of the other line, right? Capricorn or whatever they call it. So you've virtually got three lines, one that runs across the middle of the earth, and then you've got, no, it's actually only two, because you've got the other one underneath. You've got two around it. I need maps. We need maps. This is a good show. I'm going to put on a show about that. We'll have maps and everything to look at. I'll get some.
Yeah, I mean, you. I've seen some of your collection. You've got some really good maps, some old maps.
We'll check out some maps, and we'll look at the equator, and we'll discuss the sun and how things were going to change as far as the hot and cold go. Because, like I was saying, at the top of Australia is very hot. That's going to cool down, and the heat will actually move down to where I am. So where I complain about winter being too cold, it won't happen anymore. It'll be nice and hot all year round. Yahoo! Yahoo for me. Everyone else will complain. And that means further down south in Tasmania and the South Pole, where it snows, will be like it is here. You'll have a lovely summer and a cool winter, and it won't snow anymore. Yahoo! I can go down south for holidays.
It's starting to warm up here, and we only got snow one day, and it didn't stick around, and it only happened just because I was alert to it. And for 2 months, I had please let there be snow. I want snow. I want snow on my birthday.
That'll warm up.
And that was the only time it snowed this year. And ironically, the same day it snowed over in the mountains in Australia.
Yeah, that's weird. We're at the end of summer, because we usually have a good snow on the snowy mountains every winter. But for the last so many years, we haven't had the snow till the end of summer. That's a weird one, hey? That shows you what's cold will be hot and what's hot will be cold. So get ready, everyone. I've been saving up my jumpers, thinking it's going to get colder. Well, and it'll end up being hotter, but it will get cold before it gets hot, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It'll get hot before it gets cold, because it's changing. So everything is changing at the moment. Everything.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. So I've got some.
That's the thing. Everything around me seems to be changing, except me.
Oh, you'll be changing, do you? Or you've already
I
changed?
mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I know I'm changing. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
It's my change. My change is personal change, personal growth. I would like to think.
That's what I'm talking about when I say people will change. That's what it's all about, that growth. But we've been growing and changing over the years, like the weather, but it's no one's noticed it because it's been a slow growth. But it's like any plant. You put the seed in and then you wait forever for the flower to come on the plant, right? And it could take for however long. No one really notices it until one day the flower's there. And then everyone goes, oh, look at that beautiful flower. But you know you've had that plant been growing for ages. That's what we're like. We've been growing, waiting for the flower. No one's really noticed. And we may have not even noticed ourselves. Now the flower's starting to come. It's like, oh, look, we're all creating a beautiful garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bray just explained it here. It'll get hot, hotter, cold, colder, and no in between, and then we'll change it back into whatever it's going to be. We're actually lucky to watch this happen. We're in the precipice of watching it happen.
We are on the precipice of so much history being made. And it just kind of saddens me that real history is going to be more than likely shunned and written off because it's his story.
Yeah. That's why I encourage people to write stuff down and draw pictures, all according to the now and the true history. So when things do change, they'll be one of the books that we dig up in 100 years, a couple of 100 years, and go, look, I found an old book. Look at the pictures in there. Look at what they say.
True.
Time capsules, tell the truth and hide it away for tomorrow. So this will never happen again. Shouldn't happen. Everyone's memory should be intact and we should remember the past. So we don't make
True, but in the future, will we be living longer? Well, in the future, I mean, the next root race is likely going to be combination of man and machine.
Probably.
I mean, you'll plug in literally. You won't think the machine will think for you.
Yeah, it's already doing that. They've the banking system. They've got a lot of automotive now, and they got rid of their bankers. That's why I don't do online banking, Jules, because we took someone's job every time we do it. And at the shops, I use a person. I don't use one of them quick and convenient ones.
Oh, I always when I go to a store, when I go somewhere where there's an actual human person there, even if I have to wait a little bit longer, I will always go in and go to the line that has the human interaction. I guess I'm just driven to be a people person and want that interaction. But after seeing the world literally shut down and people not even wanting to go inside and avoiding people, I kind of go out of my way to talk to people now because so many people during that pandemic, they might have been elderly, they might have been single, they might have been by themselves. They probably appreciate having conversation with somebody.
No, bro. What's that? The next horde, the Age of Terminator versus man. For anyone that knows me, I absolutely detest robots. And there's something in me. It's inground into my DNA. I see a robot and knock it over and kill it. I don't know why. I never grew up with robots, but as soon as I see one, something inside of me changes. So I know there's something there.
If I could go out on a limb and speculate, Can I speculate that you know something or have knowledge of those old animatrons from Atlantis?
I'd say something like that. I haven't looked into it, Jules, but I just know it's there. I know that we had technology in the past, because some of the technology we have today is not even close to it. There's still things that we can invent that are better than what we have. And I remember them from the past, but yeah, I never looked at the robot part. There's something for me to look at. Maybe that's what happened. We went up against an AI army and we lost.
Perhaps. I mean, the Atlanteans had those automatons, and that's kind of where we're headed now with our technology. I mean, and I always keep going back, and does history repeat itself?
And I just realised that maybe that's why they
These elites in control still play from the same book, time and time again.
probably. Well, they're idiots, because you do the same thing over and over again, it don't work. You've got to change it, right? The only way to get rid of AI like that, that's why we went back to caveman days. We probably destroyed all technology altogether to get rid of it.
I mean, and the cavemen, the Flintstones, they were probably more sophisticated than we were led to believe. I mean, they had to hunt and gather. They had some kind of communication. They had some kind of skill.
Yeah, automatic stuff. Automatic stuff's more like a machine. Like, you got a whisk and you turn the handle and it turns the thing and whisks your stuff. They're different. They still need a person to run them. When you don't need a person to run it, it's AI. And I get into a moral dilemma, because when something becomes a sentient being and has compassion and all that stuff, that means we have to act with it, and when we're around it, like we would a cat or a dog or a tree or a person or a child or another animal, another living being, right? That's what scares me. If it becomes aware enough, we're going to see things I don't think people are ready to see. An EMP field, yeah. We are walking EMP fields. How many times have your energy's built up in a certain way, or you've just walked in from a storm outside and you blow something?
True.
You should be on here, brother, and you got all the information. True. And that's what I mean. When we had to blow an EMP field to get rid of the enemy, and it wiped us all back to doing things by hand again and creating machines that you have to turn the wheel or get something to pull it, or whatever way it works.
Yeah.
Get water to turn it around, whatever. Yeah, we're in a dilemma. I can see a dilemma coming up there. I reckon we could avoid the whole thing just by bypassing the whole stuff, and there's another way, another better way, but we haven't discovered it. No one's listened yet. No one listens. They got to learn themselves. Well, I don't like that, because then I have to look at a machine, man. Get me an angle grinder, somebody. Hey, I'll buy everyone an angle grinder for Christmas. Just protection against a machine. Boogeyman.
Can you make a Faraday cage for that?
Pardon?
Could you make a Faraday cage for that?
Well, that'll only work so far, but if someone gives the AI arms, legs, and a head, we're in trouble.
True.
Oh, AI is the Antichrist. Don't tell me that, brother. I was real happy to know that it was a human being and they could be taken down.
See, and I admit that I'm by no means do I consider myself religious. I am just a person, and I guess you'd say I'm more spiritual. I've been looking at works, the ancient texts, the Bible, all these historical books, and I'm making my own conclusions. And what I'm learning in this particular part of my journey is that there were two Enochs.
There
I mean,
was.
and that I'm still putting pieces together on how there could be, but that explains the Enochian language, the Enochian magic. There's different kinds, and that Enochian magic goes in Hollywood and all this other stuff, and yada yada yada. And it's so much stuff that I'm still taking it in and sorting it. But this walk through life at this particular point in time when I'm discovering that, learning this, and seeing the world unfold the way it is, it's an interesting time for history right now. Absolutely.
It is. Funny you said, I do know a story, Jules. You know, in India, the curry, we call them, sorry, I shouldn't say that online. The Indian people from India,
Yes.
right, so they got papers, they have papers that go way back. And there's a story about a robot AI, whatever you want to talk about it, say however you want to say it. And it helped people win wars. And this story goes, one of the leaders went and had a yarn to this robot AI and asked it, whose side is it on? And it said, I am on the side that is losing there. So whoever made this robot thing made it so whatever side is losing and is the underdog, you would fight for him. But what that means is that when the side that's losing, it goes and helps it win the war, and then they're the side that's winning now, so it goes to the other side because they're losing now and helps it win the war, and it's just this back forth never ending thing. So he disabled it, and they actually found its head.
Wow.
They found the head. Someone who disabled it, he must have put the head in a shrine or something like that, and they found the head. But that was really a stupid thing to do, is to tell it to go and help the one that's losing, because like I said, as soon as the side that's losing starts to win, it's going to go and help the other side. It's not who's doing the most damage and being evil to people. It's just who's winning and losing the war. Oh yeah, brother in here knows more on. It's a head in a temple. Yeah. So just from finding that out, regardless of how I have this instinctive feel towards them, tells us that it's not really a good idea. And if you give a machine the ability to judge to the utmost precise and proper way, it's going to look at us and deem us not being able to live on the earth because we're so dysfunctional. And that's what they don't think. We think we're so smart that we can make a machine that can be so smart, but that machine's going to get smart and look around at us and go, you know what, you are flawed. Human people are flawed. And just on our flaws, it's going to wipe us out, not knowing that those flaws were put in us for a reason that only Creator knows, to see the game out, the end game.
Yeah.
Make the myth of John the Baptist head in this cycle. Yeah, John the Baptist. Yeah, I get you, bro. Yeah. John the Baptist. Oh, that's right. That lady wanted his head cut off. Yeah. Yeah. This is what we've got to realise. Humans are barbaric. And if we make a machine that's going to be barbaric, we've lost again. Doesn't matter what way you look at the machine, it sounds bad. And can't tell me that the robots that's going to cook my dinner and clean up for me is a good thing, because I don't believe it.
But are you saying you want to be like the Jetsons and have Rosie?
Yeah, Rosie, that's it. Make the dinner, clean the clothes, clean the house, feed the animals. Yeah, that's all good and lazy.
Well, that's the how they portrayed humans. I only saw Disney's Wally years ago once, and how we were lazy in space, that we we sat down and did nothing, and we were just lazy and fat and did nothing because everything was done for us.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, all right. Look, I'm trying to type. I'm just going to say, wow, moron. That's really amazing what you just told me about the Templars have his head. I'd like to hear more about it. See, that was faster than typing it out.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. I could just see a robot around me. I wouldn't let it do anything. I'll do that. No, it's okay. I'll do that.
I have to say, the coolest robot, Chunky from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Ah,
Today's secret word.
oh, watch that movie. What's that movie that came out? iRobot, was it? Where he
I
snaked that
haven't seen
person until they died.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, well, me being compassionate like I am, at the end I was crying because it was wrong what they did to them all. Because now they were sanctioned and they understood life and death, and they understood happiness and sadness and all those things, and we have to treat them properly, and they're all locked up. I'll wait to give it away. But watch it. Take a tissue. Take a tissue. There are movies out there that will say, oh, that machine.
Yeah, I forgot about Twinkie. So, Luna, we've been going for almost 2 hours. It's good catching up with you and everybody else, too.
Yeah, it has been good.
Buzz and Ron and Connie and Joe. And there were a couple of lurkers. It was good to have you guys lurking. It's been a hot minute, but it's so good to see everybody. And I was actually, when I was chatting with Polly yesterday, I was actually like thinking of, I need to go on and just let people know that I'm still alive. And I've got nothing going on. It's not an intentional break. It just happened to fall like that. And then, but it was good catching up with you because I mean you've been doing adventures of your own as well.
I have. Yeah, it's been good to catch up, Jules, and it was meant to be, obviously, because it worked out this way.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to hear some 80s tunes this weekend, join us over. I'll be joining Polly on One Polly Nation, his show on the Independent Broadcast Network. And we're looking forward to it. It's always a good time with 80s. No telling. He's got a similar mindset with me when it comes to 80s, so the tunes probably be pretty epic.
Yeah, I reckon
throw some way back forgotten buried gems in there somewhere. But anyhow, it's been awesome catching up with everybody and seeing everybody tonight. And thank you, Luna, for joining me.
Thank you.
It's good to catch up with Ron and Buzz and Connie and Joe and lurkers.
Yep.
Again,
watching in the
you're
future.
always welcome.
Whoever's watching in the future. Yep, and you know how it goes. Love to you on this day. Stay centered, stay strong. I'd say deadly, but deadly here means good, and deadly over there means you're going to kill someone or you're poisonous. Yeah. But stay happy, stay strong, stay centered.
Yes, keep shining, everybody. Much love to you all.
Yalu.
Yalu.